When we have the surveys and people are asked why they don't use the same agent that helped them buy the house to sell the same home years later, the number one reason is communication. 24% of people felt like after they listed, their agent stayed in touch. This is a massive problem and something that you can take advantage of to leverage your listings and create lifelong relationships, which lead to lifelong referrals. What's up, guys? Jeremy Kane. I help agents with this specific nuance to help them understand exactly how we can scale a business through organic lead generation, which I have done, which I've helped many agents do. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please reach out to me. All the stuff's in the comments below. But for now, let's get rolling. So it starts at the very first conversation, the very first listing appointment, the very first buyer's appointment. Let's be real. Buyers can also refer you clients because they're probably surrounded by people that are having the same experience. Likewise, so are those sellers. So the expectations are huge, and you can't talk about expectations and the market and all of the things without knowing those stats, knowing the active days on market, knowing shows to close ratios, shows to pending, how many showings per week. This is where we have to get extremely granular. So it's a little bit of work up front for you, but we focus so much on the specific property when we are going to listing appointments and we have this beautiful listing presentation and all the things. And sometimes we don't factor in some of these more higher level statistics. It could make a huge difference because if they know up front the average days on market and kind of what's going on, and you can show them pictures of homes that look like theirs and feel like theirs and are priced like theirs, then they can kind of have that expectation, because the truth is sellers still think we're in 2021, right? And so as we back away from this, there's a lot more expectations you can set. But the first one is the expectation of yourself to understand that hyperlocal market. The beauty is that you don't have to live in that market to get the data. Data is at the tip of your fingertips with your realtor boards, with your, brokerage meetings, with all the masterminds that you have available to you. And so that's an absolute game changer. And I will tell you that not all markets are the same. You may be watching this and you're like, yeah, my market's still hot. But I'm going to tell you, in Denver, which, is one of the leading real estate markets that kind of identifies those trends, and we feel it first, this is true. Homes are sitting on the market for a little bit longer. We continue to have buyer demand suppressed due to high interest rates and all the other things, the cost of living and all of that. So we need to really make sure we're dialed in on these expectations. Another ninja trick that I'm using now is talking to the sellers about what a potential buyer will be looking at as a monthly payment. This really sets that expectation because it's an eye-opening number, especially if they bought, 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20, because everybody that bought in that time frame has a really low interest payment or no mortgage at all. And so they don't really understand what the difference is between their 2.5% interest rate that they might be paying on their loan to a 6 or 7 or 8% interest rate that the buyer might be coming in with. So a simple calculation, mortgage calculator, factoring in the taxes as those have gone up, factoring the interest rates if those have gone up, and the purchase price that we're looking to get based on, an average down payment that might, be brought into the situation, right? If it's a 3-2 and a tract neighborhood and all the things, right? That's likely a first-time home buyer that's going to be coming in. So you want to use a lower down payment. If it's, a move-up home and all of those things, even use 20%, and the number will be jaw-dropping to a lot of these sellers. So we can also use that to kind of set expectations and understand that further down the road. Right? Remember, we had that $6,000 monthly payment. We may need to fix that 25-year-old water heater or that 50-year-old furnace, or maybe the $1,500 radon system isn't going to, break the bank, but it's going to be a big deal because these people are going to be coming in ready for a turnkey home because their mortgage payment is so much higher than that you're used to. So these expectations are huge and they help set the tone for the entire process. Next, we need communication, right? We need to focus on this. We need to know that communication is king, and we need to set that expectation, right? If it's just like, yep, we're gonna get it on the market and I'll let you know with feedback, That doesn't work anymore because, first of all, we don't have a ton of showings, so we don't have a ton of feedback, and we do have to maybe go out and hunt for some of that feedback, whereas before it just kind of came in, but so did offers, so we didn't really care what the feedback said because the offer was great feedback as it stands. Now that's not necessarily the case, so we need to make sure we're communicating. Hey, this is how it's going to look. First 0 to 4 days, we're going to be in touch and be making sure the showings are going well, making sure, our showing instructions are right, or people are reading them and people are following that piece. The showings are coming in based on, that should be for the first 2 to 3, 4 showings. You should kind of be in contact, right? And talking through that and going through all of those things. And then at that point, hey, we're going to basically let the market do its thing. We'll talk once a week or once every 5 days or 3 days, whatever they want. You can kind of let them set that communication expectation. And then all you have to do is follow the roadmap. And so then we're talking about, okay, we had 1 showing. Okay, we had 5. What did we do here? Why did that happen? I posted this video. We held this open house, all of those things. And then you can kind of use that because this is the biggest piece. We don't have the marketing lifespan that we need in this industry. And if you've been watching this series on listings and kind of the changing market and leveraging them, we need to make sure that we have marketing tidbits to hand them every single time. We can report back on how the marketing in previous week performed, and we can report what we're doing, because then the homeowner isn't sitting there trying to think of different ways to market or talking to someone at the grocery store and being like, well, my agent did an open house, or my agent, held a broker open, or all the things, because you have a plan and you have a strategy. Now we just need to communicate that. Right? And if we're communicating that, we can certainly do that. If this is a foreign concept to you, maybe this is the first video you've watched, comment listing marketing below, and I will make sure that I will get you the delayed marketing plan and strategy that will absolutely help you at least get the groundwork going for your marketing strategy that you can use in this specific instance, tailor it to the days on market, and then you have a communication script 100% ready for you, which is absolutely crazy. I, in fact, if you're an AI person, made a GPT that will help analyze your listings even pre-launch or post-launch. So if you comment listing coach below, I will certainly get that out to you. You can also head over to Instagram and DM me listing coach, and that will come to you right away. So let's kind of continue this. The communication, if you have the marketing and you have the statistical knowledge, then you can kind of pull those back in and compare, because we set that back at the expectation phase. So all we have to do is follow through on the expectations that were agreed upon at the listing appointment, or, the pre-marketing appointment, or whatever that is. And then we can absolutely launch our listing into the stratosphere and take care of that number one objection that people that bought homes or sold homes, are facing, and that's communication from the agent. So not only do you know what the expectation for communication is, you have some, evidence to plan those meetings and have them be very, forthcoming and, comfortable, which is huge. So then we kind of step back. Okay, we got the basics, we got the delayed marketing plan. What are these top listing agents doing to continue to maintain their brand, to continue to do this, even though the market changes? The truth is that the market, we have very little control of. It's not our fault. It's not our fault that interest rates are up. It's not our fault that interest rates are down. It's not our fault on the market side. The marketing side, it is our fault. So what are some other options? If you're listing heavy, I would certainly look into homes.com. You can see my story on the previous videos about how I signed up for a membership. It was very affordable and got a house that was sitting for 70 days under contract due to the traffic. And all the traffic that's coming to those listings is absolutely increased since I had that membership. The next thing is get on video, do these things, because if you're on video, it's much easier to knock it out in one day, right? You have the listing video, you have, the short form content, maybe you have some community highlights. This is something that is unique and can't really be handled through, just the traditional open house piece. If you do have an open house, make sure you blow it up. Make sure you make it on brand and exactly what you want it to be, because ultimately everything that you do and you put out is a reflection of your brand. And so someone else might be like, oh, I really like that, downtown Longmont series that Jeremy did for that listing. I want that for my listing. And you can scale your business this way because people are seeing that you're doing things a little bit different. The truth is, we have access to the same database, we have access to the same internet, we have access to the same marketing, everything, with a cost or not, depending on where you're at. But the truth is that we don't leverage it enough. And even the people that have it, including myself, have been guilty of not leveraging that. And so we need to learn to leverage. The best agents, the top agents, leverage their tools, they leverage their team, they leverage all of these things in order to appear like they are hands down the number one agent in that area or in that neighborhood. But all of that goes for naught if we're not handling that communication. If we're communicating with the internet and our socials and everything more and not the client, then it still goes out the window. So there's massive opportunity for you to come with a full approach that will be dialed in. You knock out that communication. If we can knock out that number one objection, I don't care what it is. If I can knock out a number one objection from a buyer, a lender, a seller, a possible listing, I'm way ahead of the game because I have it. And then it's just about execution, which is also an important part. So why is all this important? Right? People say all the time to me, well, Jeremy, I need to do something because, my sphere of influence is small, or, I have a sphere of influence, but they're pretty tapped out and it's not really scalable. The truth is it is scalable, right? If you want to sell 50 homes in a single year through sphere of influence alone, that's me. I've done it. Repeated year after year after year based on incoming referrals, based on just doing what's within my brand. I don't do everything. I do a couple things really well, and that allows me to continue to have my phone ringing. So if you want your phone to be ringing and you want to surround yourself with people that are maybe a little bit different minded thinking, because here's the deal, every single top producer, especially in the Wolfpack, who are now my friends across the globe that I talk to on a weekly basis, we're all doing it. And if you ask those top producers what their number one source of, leads is, it might be Instagram or it might be this, but ultimately it's their sphere and they're dedicated to being consistent and doing those things. So if you're interested in surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, people that are doing just like everything, and helping everybody and doing everything that they can as a community, that's the Wolfpack. So you can definitely book a call with me, reagentwolfpack.com, and we can talk about that, because the truth is proximity is power. And when I moved from my dad's brokerage to the brokerage I'm at now, I scaled my IQ for real estate, my education, because all of a sudden I was surrounded with this community with absolute killers in this industry. And the truth is, they're just normal people and they're willing to help you. And so if you feel like, you're kind of surrounded by, people and it's just a team meeting and it's just like, yeah, you need to start dumping your sphere into our team and we want to do this and that. Well, that's not really education. That's not really community. And if you want to surround yourself with a bunch of people that are building their business mostly for free, that's the Wolfpack. So reach out below. In the end, communication is the number one piece, because communication builds trust and trust leads to referrals. And if you can have organic referrals coming into your business, right? They don't cost anything. In fact, you make money off of one, then you make money off the other, then you make money off the other if your systems and processes of communication and experience are dialed in. So that's what we do. That's the importance of this. And that's why I want you to understand that we can't be afraid to communicate. We have to have something in our hip pocket that we can talk about when we did have a week with no showings, or we had very little showings or limited showings, because then that communication comes better. And guess what? If your home is overpriced and the listing is overpriced, these conversations are so much easier if you're staying in constant communication and you're not just sitting here being like, well, we've had no showings in 2, 3, 4 weeks. Now we need to do this. So if you need help with that, if you want to build this system, you can, comment the things I said below, whether it's, listing coach or listing marketing, and we can get that done. But ultimately, if you say, hey, I just need a 30-minute Zoom call, Realtor Game Plan call link below, would love to help you understand exactly how to take that maybe awkward conversation, turn it into masterful communication, and scale your business. We'll see you next time. Like, comment, subscribe if you're still around, and have a good one.